Hi everybody, welcome to the show. This is Ingrid Kerzinger with the Positive Impact Project. Today I have Stefanie with us, who is an Ayurvedic health counselor and a Reiki practitioner, and she is going to be talking a little bit about her work and what she does and about her life. And if you have any questions, feel free to type those in and we'll get those answered for you. So thank you so much, Stefanie, for coming on today. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
I am an Ayurvedic health counselor, which means that I take the wisdom of Ayurveda, which is over 5,000 years old, and it's still in practice today, and highly revered all over the world, not just in its origins from India. And I take that wisdom to empower everyone to take control of their own health. I give them the tools to help them understand who they are and be able to live in more harmony and peace with their natural environment.
Wonderful. Well, it sounds like coaching, is it something you do one-on-one with people as far as
Yes, or in
them?
Group as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really an individual, because we're all, that's the whole basic foundation of Ayurveda, is that we are all unique. We are all made up of the same elements of the natural environment, but in different proportions. Mm-hmm. So though we are all similar in many ways, we are also very unique. And Ayurveda has what they call your prakriti, which is your constitution. Mm-hmm. It's the doshas, the three doshas, the vata, pitta, kapha. And they all have qualities, the same qualities that you find in the five elements of nature, air, fire, water, earth.
The elements. Okay.
Yep, the five elements. So everything has the five elements, and each of those elements has individual qualities. And just as food has it, vibrational energies have those elements, the trees, the plants, I mean, the sofa, everything. And we have them too, but in different proportions. And my job is to get you to learn what your makeup is of those particular elements, because yours is different than mine. So therefore, not every food works for both of us. I could eat something that doesn't make me feel good, but it makes you feel good. So I teach you how to make you understand the better choices for you to make, so that you live in harmony.
That's beautiful, and it sounds like very ancient wisdom. So I think about that sometimes, how new America is, and compared to the rest of the world, and how there are things that have been around and working great for so long, and how much we have to learn, how much that we don't know as Americans. And I feel like just listening to those other cultures and saying, hey, they've been doing something that works, we should be listening to that. You know, it's only intelligent to do that.
It is, and it makes so much sense. And you can do Ayurvedic practices and not be living in a cave. Mm-hmm. You can have the wonderful benefits and miracles of modern medicine, mm-hmm. and still have Ayurveda as part of your lifestyle. Ayurveda is like all most holistic modalities. It's preventative, mm-hmm. but it also teaches you how to manage as well. So if you are suffering from a chronic illness or chronic symptoms, imbalances that are, mild compared to diabetes or cancer, mm-hmm. Anyone, even if you're healthy, can introduce this. And we work with traditional allopathic Western doctors as well, mm-hmm. to integrate this into your treatment plan.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about what got you into this work. What made you decide to go into it?
I would like to tell people that it was an epiphany that I had when I was in Costa Rica a few years ago on a yoga retreat. But in reality, transcending that experience and looking down at it, I think my whole adult life has really brought me to this point. I seem to always attract, in my circle of people, who are always suffering from some kind of chronic illness. My best friends, my spouse, my parent, I mean, just my closest circle. And I always felt like I was there, you know, to give advice, even if I didn't have like the real information. Everybody just would come to me, and it just always found me.
And you know, I find that happens a lot where the calling, it calls you. It calls you up.
And I think you need to go.
Say, I need
to
to do this.
have enough of those experiences to finally have that aha moment. Say, you know what? I think this is the path I'm supposed to be taking. Because you know, why am I always surrounded by, I don't want to say sadness, but challenges? And it has always made me a better person. It has always taken me to different roads and different paths. But this one, I was going through some emotional challenges on my own, relationship issues, and you know, I felt lost a few years ago. And my best friend, who's a yogi, gave me 2 books, and they were Ayurveda based. I had no idea because I didn't
know what it was yet.
But the basic
like
principles,
a lot of us.
the basic principles of living and, you know, eating and waking up. And it wasn't an Ayurveda book, but it was based on Ayurvedic principles. So some of the vocabulary came up, but I overlooked that, took the basics of the information. About 9 months later, we went on this yoga retreat that she was leading, and there was a massage therapist there, very young, and she was an Ayurvedic massage therapist. So I had my first Ayurvedic massage. Still didn't know what Ayurveda was at that point. At dinner that night, she was just casually talking to all of us, and I started hearing some of the vocabulary. I'm like, where did I hear that from? I mean, it's not what I normally talk about on a daily basis. You know, we go to Sephora. And you know, and then it just hit me, both of the books. And then my friend was there, and I asked her, and even she was getting her first lessons on it, even though she's very big in holistic practice and yoga. But you know, Ayurveda is its own science. And you know, as a matter of fact, I had one of the books with me, so we were looking through it, and then we all ended up into this discussion that night. So you know, okay, so that was there, and it came up, and the synchronicity was exciting. And then I had a Reiki treatment right before I left. And
was that your first?
And that was my first Reiki.
Oh,
yes, my
okay.
first introduction to Reiki as well.
Great.
And she told me that in 3 weeks, I am going to have complete clarity of where I am and what I want to do. So I went home I'm on the plane. I'm thinking, okay, this was supposed to be my little thing, and it was relaxing and nice, but nothing, you know, spectacular happened. I was waiting for something super exciting to happen. I'm like, oh well. Well, 3 weeks later, I can't explain it, but it was just, I had this knowing. I just woke up one morning and just knew that this is what I had to do, and this is what I wanted to do. And I couldn't read enough, get my hands on enough material, and I enrolled in California College of Ayurveda, which is the most recognized program in the West, and it just went off from there. And I couldn't imagine doing anything different. It just all makes sense. And honestly, after going through the first module on Ayurvedic philosophy and going back to the beginnings of Vedic philosophy, it's like, well, that could have saved me months of therapy. It's like I had it all in one.
It was probably all meant to.
Everything makes sense. So, yeah.
That's awesome, and I love those. I love those aha moments. And I have to say, my Positive Impact Project, this show, was the same way for me. I woke up one morning and they said, "You're doing the show," and I was like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm never doing something like that." And here I am. So this is episode 30 today too. You are the 30th episode, and I have to say that it's been an amazing ride, and I bet you found the same thing with this divine calling.
Oh, yeah, and it doesn't stop, and it is such a deep science. Ayurveda it's the science of life. That's when in Sanskrit, when you split up the Ayu and the Veda. And I mean, it is the science of nature, of harmony, of knowing who you are, so that you can interact with your entire environment around you. Not, you know, food has its own energies, but the same energies and qualities in food you get from light energy, which is color, gems, crystals, even our own bodies when we go into meditation and breathing. You know, depending if we're feeling good today, my breathing techniques during meditation might be different than yours because we are made of different proportions of those same elements.
That makes sense. So tell us right now a little bit about what you do, how it works. And,
okay. The first step on this journey is a 2-hour comprehensive consultation. And that is where we look at your long-term tendencies. We look at your physical features. You know, really, like, do you have deep set eyes? Do you have small eyes, small lips? And there's again, it's a science. There's guidelines in there to put you in different columns in those
really cool.
3 constitutions. And again, we all have those pieces of those constitutions in it, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, but it depends on what proportions. And that is where your dominant personality, your tendencies, your physical functionality comes in. And we talk about all of that from long-term till we get up to present. And then we look at, you know, we look at those triggers. What could have triggered you in the past to get you to feeling where you are today? And then we have to take the present and we go through the same, you know, psychological functions, physical functions, personality, tendencies, how you react to things, your lifestyle habits from past and present as well. You know, what time you go to bed at night, you know, how do you react when your boss gets you mad? You know, just everything to get an idea of where you fit in. And again, those proportions and the elemental makeup. If you have a lot of fire in you, which is Pitta, when you go into imbalance, you tend to get angrier, possibly more jealous. You know, when you're imbalanced, you're very focused, you're light, very good leaders are Pitta from a personality standpoint. So we find out where you are so that once we get you to know if you have a lot of fire in you, then you know you need to balance that with, for example, what you eat.
So I'm a fire dragon in the Chinese.
That's different.
Is that different? Okay.
It is different.
Because I was thinking they have elements too, but I was curious how it differed.
You know, it's, again, these are the governing energetic forces within you that govern everything from, you know, your emotions to your physical functionality and your physical makeup. And then, of course, it goes deeper. I mean, there's things that are karmic related as well, and we might find that out too.
Really,
it's a
amazing.
medical metaphysical science.
Okay. And so what are these? Do they fit into your sessions?
Yes.
Kind of do a little show and tell?
Yes. One thing that benefits everybody, regardless what your body type is your morning routines, because it sets the intention for the rest of your day. And you know, so you wake up in the morning, if you choose to do these things first thing, you know, you meditate, you just clear your mind. Okay, so I brought some goodies. Let's start with okay, I'm going to start with the tongue scraper. In Ayurveda, when you digest your food and you have good nutrition, you produce ojas, which is your energy. It gives you vitality for life. When your ojas is depleted and gone, you know, pretty much death occurs. Okay. So the idea of everything we ingest is to make it all work for us and to produce the most vigorous form of ojas and healthy form of ojas. But our body does produce waste. And whatever is not eliminated from our body will try to expel it, you know, through sweat. A major sign of ama in the body in Ayurveda Ayurveda calls it ama, and it shows up as a white coating on your tongue. And if you look in the morning, most of us will wake up with a little bit or a lot, depending on how much toxicity our body is trying to eliminate. And an easy way to rid that on our own is using a tongue scraper, and just lightly rub it from the back to the front of your tongue 3 times, 3 or 4 times, and it's just as simple as that. It massages the internal organs and gets rid of that coating, so you're not re-ingesting it.
Okay. That's cool.
Yes. And then this is called a neti pot, and this is great for this time of the year, especially when you have allergies.
Okay.
And we fill it up with lukewarm water, and there's neti salt, some sea salt. Just use 1/4 of a teaspoon. Sometimes you have to adjust it if you feel like you're diving in a pool. But it's for your nose. It's a nasal cleanser. And you kind of bend, and it goes up the nostril and out the other. And you just kind of have to move.
So what do you put in it?
It's just water.
Water. Okay.
Like lukewarm water, and like Himalayan sea salt. I use actual neti salt. I think there's a better balance in there. Sometimes you have to play with it to see what's comfortable. You don't want it to burn. If it burns, it's not a good mixture of the water. They used to say 1/4 of a teaspoon and you fill it up.
Okay.
But again, sometimes if it burns, you actually may need more salt rather than less. So again, it's definitely trial by error in the beginning, but eventually you figure out what's most comfortable for you. And you can just do it over the sink, and you keep your mouth open so you could breathe, and it just comes out. And you can do it in the shower as well, take it in the shower with you. And it's very quick. It just takes less than a minute. And then you do the other side, and it's the same thing. And especially if you have allergies, if you have a cold, sometimes it clogs, but it helps relieve those sinuses for you. But it's not just your nose that it clears. It clears everything. And you just feel, when you're done, just clarity and refreshed, and you can think better. It gives you mental clarity as well.
That's amazing. I wouldn't even have thought of that.
This once a week is great. Now, it's for an eye wash, and all this is pure rose water.
I love the smell of rose water.
It just smells like roses, and it's basically just the distilled water from the production of rose essential oil. And you just fill an eye cup halfway with, again, just purified water and room temperature, and then the rest of it, the other half of it, the rose water, and just give it a little swirl, and you cup it over your eye, and you just blink a few times. And again, it's the same idea with the neti. It's just very refreshing. Rose water is extremely antibacterial, anti-everything. Is wonderful. You can use it on your face, you can use it in your hair.
That is so cool.
For acne.
And I guess it doesn't burn.
No, it doesn't burn at all. It's weird. I mean, both practices you have to get used to. It's like jumping in the pool for the first time and keeping your eyes open, or just most people don't put things up their nose; they put it out their nose.
Well, when you're sick, you sometimes do those nose sprays.
Yeah. So it's awkward, but eventually you get the hang of it. You get used to it, and at some point you're not going to want to not do it because of the way it makes you feel. And this is Abhyanga oil. This is for self-massage. And in Ayurveda, this is all about you. It's about taking care of you, and you taking charge and empowering. You're being empowered to make yourself feel good and make choices that make you feel good, not bad. And self-compassion, non-judgment, self-love are principles that are highly regarded in Ayurveda. And one way to do is start your day off in the morning by giving yourself a rub down.
Yeah. Self-care.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And again, with the different constitutions, there are different base oils. For me, I'm very Vata. So this is almond oil, which is a little more nourishing and a little thicker. Vata, I'm just very thin-skinned, I'm cold all the time, don't have a lot of muscle on my body. So this is very nourishing for me, especially this time of year. And then you can put any essential oils that you like in it. And again, even with the essential oils, when we have our consult, I could tell you the best ones to use for your constitution. For me, I have in here lavender and sandalwood, which is
I love both of those.
very calming. And Vata is very
good.
very talkative, very flighty, worried, fearful. So it's very calming for me. And the sandalwood is very grounding. It keeps me, I'm air and ether. That is Vata. I'm here, and it keeps me balanced. And it also keeps me from breaking because it just moisturizes internally my bones.
That is wonderful.
And you heat it up.
I was just thinking how, especially for empaths, I'd say that most of the people that come to my classes, the people that come for spiritual counseling, there's a lot of empaths, and empaths tend to pay so much attention to other people and what's going on around them, taking care of other people. And I feel like self-care is probably one of their biggest challenges, to learn how to do that. So I feel like this is something that empaths could greatly benefit from.
It is. And if you take care of yourself and you stay healthy, you're better for the people that rely on you to take.
Right. It seems so simple, but we tend to forget, how important our health is.
And, this is the only body that we have. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and this is the vehicle of which we're doing that.
And you wouldn't get a brand new car, and go around just kind of bumping into things, crashing it. Not on purpose.
But a car could be replaced. Our bodies can't either. And Ayurveda is one of 4 sister sciences: yoga, Vedic astrology, and Vedic feng shui. And the yoga is the spiritual side of Ayurveda, where Ayurveda is for the health, to keep you healthy, to live an optimal, blissful, harmonious, long life, so that you can fulfill your spiritual path and your spiritual purpose and journey. Because if you're not well, you're not going to achieve what you are here for on Earth.
Right. Well, tell us, what is your website? How can people reach you if they want to?
Sure. My website is delightfulsoul.com. It's delightful. The D's for dosha. DLIGHTFUL.com.
Okay, great. And so they can just set up it's a 2-hour consultation.
2-hour consultation, and with that, your follow-up visit a few weeks later is included in the cost of that 2-hour consultation. And you'll leave that consultation knowing who you are and some preliminary ways to get you started, specific nutritional lists. And I'm there to help put recipes together for you if that's difficult, because a lot of people get the list and okay, all this food's on here, but I shouldn't eat. Yeah. I don't know what to do with it. I'm not just going to eat a carrot. So I can give you some simple recipes to start with for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you see how you do with that. When you come back, we introduce some more therapies: the color, the light, aromatherapy. Just on my website, there's just so much that goes into this. It's not just nutrition; it's lifestyle, eating guidelines, the type of exercise you should do, whether it's walking or running. I'm already running. I'm running in my head. I'm better off sitting doing grounding yoga. For me, it's so again, it's what's right for you is not necessarily the right thing for me.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Tell us a little bit about moving forward. Do you have something coming up, or do you have?
Yes. Well, right now I'm studying the Vedic astrology under Dr. David Frawley at the Vedic Institute. So that is, again, it's one of the 4 sister sciences, and the Vedic birth charts work hand in hand and beautifully with all the Ayurvedic physical health. It shows you the houses where there's from a karmic perspective, and planetary energies and arrangements, and it helps you prepare and understand why things are happening in your life, as well as offering Vedic psycho-spiritual counseling. It's the same idea. It helps, it takes over where Western psychology leaves off. It helps you, once those whys are brought to the surface, it helps you transcend those whys and understand why things are happening to you, and look at them and help you learn and love every experience, whether you perceive it as positive or negative in your life, and understand how to work that into where to go next, and your purpose for being here. And the Vatsu as well. I used to be a home stager, so it's right up my alley, just with the art and decor and just that environment. Again, your home, place of work, directional energies have a huge impact on your well-being. And then we're going to have workshops periodically, and retreats.
I think that's something really needed too right now. There's a big shift in awakening right now. There's a lot of people just kind of coming into this, waking up, going, where am I? What is this new world? And where are my guides? Where are those teachers? And they're looking for them. So this is part of that. I can see you going into being a guide and being that counselor for those that are really needing that support right now.
And I want to give you the tools to do that for yourself, to empower you to be able to manage your own health and manage your own bliss.
And what a better world this would be, right? If everybody took care of themselves and learned to love and
pass that on.
Yeah, that we would all be better off. That's how you get world peace. Everybody just needs to individually take care of themselves. That's it. Love themselves.
What's going on in us is a reflection of what's going on in the outside world.
Right.
So until there's peace and balance within us, we're not going to see that harmony outside.
That's right. So thank you so much for coming on today and sharing with us. Again, if you have any questions for Stefanie, just let us know. You can send in your questions after the show if you're not watching live. Is there anything else you wanted to share? Anything else that we need to know as far as anything coming up for you, or a tip that we can walk away with?
This time of year, it's flu season, and turmeric is a wonderful herb. It's also anti-everything. You wake up in the morning, the first thing you should have, sick or healthy, any time of the year, but especially this time of the year, is a warm or room temperature, not cold, because that interferes with your digestive fires, a glass of water. It's better than even a glass of tea, with a little bit of lemon, honey, and a little sprinkle of turmeric in there.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
And it's very preventative.
Great.
My website, there's a tips page on there.
Okay, wonderful.
So there's a ghee recipe. Ghee is clarified butter. It's called sunlight in a bottle.
Yeah, my husband would make that sometimes.
So there's a recipe on there, very simple, very easy, and this time of year it's nourishing and just wonderful to incorporate it into whatever you eat.
Yeah, there's a lot of allergies coming up, so thank you so much for coming on today. Thanks. We appreciate all of your wisdom and for doing this kind of work. And
we appreciate you.
Thank you. You're making a positive impact. All right, thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day, and let us know if you have any questions. We appreciate your support watching our show. Again, this is our 30th episode, so we are celebrating with Stefanie today, and I really appreciate you guys spreading the word, sharing the show, and let us know if you're interested in coming on. We'd love to hear from you. So have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.